Hello, algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here, and this will be the video for Wednesday night. I guess that would be May 6th. It might be posted early, but you're not held accountable for it until Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Anyway, we're going to talk about dividing rads and rationalizing denominators. You saw that in class on Tuesday on that one kind of trick problem I put up there. Okay, don't feel bad about it. I know most of you didn't know it, so it's okay. Just trying to push you a little bit. All right, now let's quickly first talk about multiplying rads. All right, we know that in a situation like this one here, I'll just call it example A, we're going to multiply 3 times 4 and get 12, and then we're going to multiply our rads. And we know to think about this as, 10 is 5 times 2, and then we got a pair of 5s here. They can leave the house. We'll get 60, rad 2, right? Okay, that should be pretty simple stuff by now. Dividing rads is very similar, very similar. Okay, except we're dividing. Take number 1 here. I've got 5 rad 10 over rad 2. Well, that's the same problem as 5 times the rad of 10 over 2. Well, 10 over 2 simplifies to 5 rad 5, and there's my answer. So rad 2 into rad 10 does equal rad 5, okay? Got to be careful with that, though. Like, these two here do not equal 120 because this is not 2. It's the rad of 2, a positive square root, okay? So this one here, if I was going to do this one, I would first of all simplify my 12/24ths. Okay, it's a one-to-one kind of thing going on, but it's only vertical. And then I would simplify this, and it looks like that would simplify to a rad 2. So my answer here would be rad 2 over 2. Excuse me, of course it figures. I just got done telling Mike that I think my cough is gone, and I make a video and it comes back. All right, problem number 3. I've got 8 going into 16 twice. These two will turn into a rad 2 in the denominator, and so I'll have 2 over rad 2. Problem is, there's that irrational denominator we talked about in class on Tuesday. So we need to multiply by rad 2 over rad 2, which, like Disha told us, this is really only multiplying by 1. If I do that, my numerator becomes 2 rad 2. My denominator becomes rad 2 times rad 2, or 2. And then look at that. Those cancel out. Okay, I'm feeling like I made a mistake there. No, but I don't believe I have. So the actual answer is the rad of 2. I'm going to redo that one just in case I made a mistake. Something's puzzling me here. Maybe I made some silly mistake. You can watch me and make sure. Shout out if I made the mistake. I want you to sound silly yelling at the computer screen. All right, 8's going to go into 16 twice. Okay, I'm going to have rad of 40 over 80, so that would be like the rad of 40 over 80, which will be the rad of 1/2, which is the same as the rad of 1 over the rad of 2. Just doing it the long way because I feel like I've made a mistake. And that's simply 2 times 1 over rad 2. All right, well that's 2 over rad 2. And when I rationalize, I'm going to multiply by rad 2 over rad 2. I'll get a 2 rad 2 in my numerator. I'll get a 2 in the denominator. Yeah, those will cancel. So the simplified answer is rad 2. All right. Kind of hard to believe. It's kind of surprising me that all that came out to be a rad 2, but that is what it is, and I didn't make any mistakes. So let's practice rationalizing our denominators. Here's problem 4. Why don't you pause the video and see if you can multiply. All right. So I'm going to multiply by rad 3 over rad 3, and I'm going to get a 5 rad 3 over 3. There you go, 5 rad 3 over 3. Okay, on this one I'm going to multiply by rad 2 over rad 2. My denominator is going to become 2. My numerator is going to be 17 And I could put rad 12, but I'm going to think of 3 times 2 times 2, right? Because 6 is 3 times 2. And then the other 2 is coming from here, right? So these 2 are going to leave the house. So I'm going to get a 34 rad 3 over 2, and that'll simplify to 17 rad 3. Now, it might have been a long way to do it. You might want to think about it this way. Put a little step right in here. 17 times 2 rad 3 over 2. I didn't actually do the 34 part because I know those 2's are going to cancel and I can jump right to that answer. But there's nothing wrong with the first work I did. Okay, number 6. Number 6. Okay, let's see here. What if I'm going to remove number 6 because I don't have enough room to show all the work I need to show here. So let me make sure it's all grouped. Okay, and I'll drag it down here. Whoop. All right, so the irrational part of my denominator is only the rad 3. So I'm not going to multiply by 10 rad 3. That's unnecessary. I'm going to multiply by rad 3 over rad 3. Always multiply by the irrational part, the part I want to get rid of. Okay, so when I do that, my denominator is going to become 10 times 3, or better yet, 30, right? My numerator is going to be negative 5 rad, and 27 is really 3 times 3 times 3, and then it'll be this 3 here. And look at that, I got a pair of 3's there and another pair of 3's. So I think I'm going to have negative 45 up front. Nobody left in the house, and this will simplify to negative 3 over 2, or if you like, a negative 1.5. Either example will be good. All right, now what would happen in a situation like this, where you have 1 over 5 minus rad 2? That is an irrational denominator. It's not both. If you have an irrational number taking away, subtracting from a rational number, your result will be an irrational number. What am I going to multiply by? If I just multiply by rad 2, it's not going to work. So what if I just square it? I don't think it's going to work either. Like if I go 5 minus rad 2, if I multiply by this, that's not going to work because when I double distribute, I'm going to end up with an irrational denominator, aren't I? What if I use the difference of squares idea and multiply by that 5 plus rad 2? What's going to happen now? Well, the numerator will simply be 5 plus rad 2. The denominator, I'm going to get a 25, get a negative 5 rad 2, get a positive 5 rad 2, so those are going to cancel each other out, and then multiply these two and get a negative 2. So I'm going to get a 23. See how I did that? I used the idea of the difference of perfect squares from factoring. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's try another one like that. How about 3 over 2 plus rad 7? Okay, well, I'm not going to just square the denominator in this case. I'm going to multiply the denominator by 2 minus square root of 7 because it will allow my denominator to have a rational answer. Okay, so the top one is a distribution. I'll get 6 minus rad 7. The denominator, well, let's see, I've got to double distribute, so I'm going to get a 4. I'm going to get a minus 2 rad 7. I'm going to get a positive 2 rad 7. And then finally, I'm going to get a minus 7. It looks like it's going to be a negative 3. Okay, there you go. Now you can do some things with that negative if you wanted. You can factor out a negative 1 in the numerator. Get a negative 1 times a negative 6 plus rad 7. And then divide by negative 3. That would allow these two negatives to cancel, and so I would have a negative 6 plus rad 7 over 3. That should be the simplest answer there. Okay? I better do one more of those. All right. So let's try this one. How about 3 plus rad 2 over 5 minus rad 3? All right. To rationalize my denominator in this case, I'm going to multiply by 5 plus rad 3 in both the numerator and the denominator. And when I do that, the denominator is going to be double distribution, so I'm going to get 25, maybe I'll do it over here, 25 plus 5 rad 3 minus 5 rad 3. Not sure what that symbol is there. Let me rewrite that so you can actually read it. Rad 3 minus 3. Looks like my denominator is going to end up being 22. My numerator is also a double distribution situation. And so in this one, I'm going to double distribute. I have no idea what that line is. Let me see, will it erase? It will. Okay, so getting rid of that line. And I'm going to double distribute. And it looks like I'm going to get a 15 plus a 3 rad 3 plus a 5 rad 2 plus a rad 6. And that's like that one example in class. There are no like terms, nothing to combine. And so I'm going to write them like this. And there you go. That's it. All right, so that's it for the video today. We talked about division. We talked about rationalizing denominators. When it's a simple irrational denominator, like this, you can just multiply by rad 11 over rad 11. You're multiplying by 1 and therefore haven't changed it. Okay, and that of course would be 3 rad 11 over 11. And of course simplify if necessary. But when you have a more complex irrational denominator, like 3 over 2 minus rad 7, then to rationalize our denominator, we'll multiply by 2 plus rad 7 in the numerator and denominator. That way we're still multiplying by 1 and we don't are changing anything. And so I get 3 times 2 is 6 plus 3 rad 7, and then I'll get a 4. The 2 rad 7s are going to cancel, and I'll get a minus 7, so I'm going to get a negative 3. All right, there you go. That's it for the video. Mr. Laurence signing off. Have a good night, everybody.